Do you have also a use case for long-form text and not only for relatively short note-taking on a tablet like the Remarkable Paper Pro or the Remarkable 2 for that matter? Do you need a keyboard folio? Because I got the keyboard folio for the Remarkable 2, but decided against the purchase for the Remarkable Paper Pro. So there is no review, just upfront. I have purchased another device or two other devices which are also having an e-ink screen and are just intended for long free writing experience. Here we have got the Astrohaus Freewrite Smart Typewriter. This is the big model, and it is essentially like a typewriter in a modern electronic clothing. Let's get into the details. It's a e-ink device, and again, this is a fantastic technology if you want to protect your eyesight and make sure that you can read and write and see the world around you until you may grow older and maybe reach the 90s or whatever. It is a very special device, to be honest. What you see here is the style of an old-fashioned typewriter. It is really, I mean, you have to carry this. It weighs over a kilo. You have only one plug here, which is the USB-C plug. It is all metal. It is heavy. It is solid. It is a little bit like the Remarkable. It has a very good build quality and rubber feet on the bottom. And it is it sits very well on the table. I, by the way, use it usually with a wooden palm rest, but in this case, because the screen size does not allow it, I use it without. That's fine. Now, this is essentially nothing more than a gigantic typewriter with brown switches, by the way, a good quality mechanical keyboard. The only thing which is very shallow is the space key. I will do something about it. The rest of the keys seem to be quite fine, but this one is annoying. And it has extremely limited features, to be fair. Yeah, you know, here are the arrow keys, and if you have followed some of the reviews of these devices, because it's not very new, this exists, I think, a couple of years now. There are arrow keys because this is the third generation, and this is the WASD. So any gamer watching these videos will now say, well, it's fine. For me, it's fine. I use this all the time. For non-gamers, having no arrow keys here, which is the usual position for notebooks, is a little bit annoying, and many people have complained about this. The philosophy of this device is distraction-free writing, and in particular, Freewrite is also is not the name of the company only. It is also a strategy of drafting, like a quick first draft without editing. So it's intended to be used to quickly type your thoughts on the screen and nothing else. No editing, no typo correction whatsoever. In order to achieve this, this has a matte screen. This screen is an e-ink device, an e-ink paper screen. It is very low power consumption, but it has a backlit on this device if you want to write in the dark. There is also another device, which I also have for traveling, which I can present you in another video. What you see here in particular is the standard version. There are a lot of special editions up to the pure steel look, as a pure metal without coloring, the Hemingway edition and green keys and the leather like a suitcase, yeah, leather attaché case. What is this called? I don't know. But it's honestly, it looks very, very fancy, no doubt about this. But you pay a premium for this device plus the enclosure. Now, what I criticize a little bit, for this huge device, you could pack a much, much bigger battery inside, that it really lasts almost half a year. but unfortunately this is not the case. It lasts, I don't know, if you really write a lot, maybe a week. If you write 1 to 2 hours a day, then maybe 2 to 3 weeks, I don't know. I have never had the problem because after a couple of days, I anyway plug it into the USB-C cable just to be on the safe side. So I never really tested until it shut down and I couldn't continue to work. Now, it has only a sync feature with the Freewrite proprietary cloud called Postbox, and from there you can sync documents into Dropbox, Google Drive, and Microsoft OneDrive. So this is a limitation as well. What happens if one day the company goes bankrupt and you have the device, it's still solid, it's still working, but the cloud is not operational anymore? Well, then you can download it via the USB cable, and it's then a non-cloud device, not connected anymore. You can, of course, in general say, I don't want to be connected and don't want to sync. And I guess if you are on the go and maybe without Wi-Fi connection, I could imagine that you save a little bit of battery as well and extend your battery life. Essentially, these switches are also anachronistic in a way because they offer you to do settings which are normally today hidden in a menu, but on this device they are physical really switches. So off, on, Wi-Fi on, and new means you want to connect to a new Wi-Fi, and once you're connected you switch back to on. And here you have 3 different folders, and these folders allow you to see, as the name says, folder A, B, and C, and not folder I name it whatever I want, and folder I name it whatever I also want, and folder C is I don't care about the name. No, it's A, B, and C, and nothing else. So a little bit minimalistic in a sense, but again, the whole idea is you sit down, you don't have any notifications popping up, at least not here. I mean, of course, I can put my phone here on the side and then it beeps as well. So if I want to having notifications and beeps everywhere, I could do that, but this is not the idea of this device. Yeah, it has, again, it has only, I think there was an earlier version where they sold also a international standard keyboard, but here this is only sold with a very specific American style keyboard, the ANSI layout, which has this small enter key, which for me is a pain because I always hit this key. Yeah, but apart from that, I'm used to the US or actually the English international layout is what I use because I use the brackets and so on, and also the slash. You know, if you are typing on a Linux console, the slash is very handy to have it here. The brackets are good for programmers. Also the backslash if you use LaTeX code and write mathematical texts and so on. So that's all great. If you have a desk close to the sleeping room or close or even inside of the sleeping room, on one side and on the other side there is the bed and your spouse is living there and wanting to sleep, then probably you have a problem because that makes some sound and the space key is particularly annoying. I will definitely do something with the space keys and try with rubber rings or whatever, maybe lubing a little bit. I will see. But apart from that, the device is fantastic. Now, if you turn it on, you have what you should have. You are immediately ready to write. I have now cleared this and have intentionally opened a blank document for you to demonstrate how it looks like. Here you have September 18, 2024. It is set to English International and even with Alt-Gr, I don't know why it's called like this. The thing is that it has no dead keys. That's what it means. So I write here and I have immediately the apostrophe and I have the inverted commas. I have here the accent grave is actually what it is, and I have immediately also the tilde. And the Alt-Gr, this international keyboard, means I can write Spanish text because I have the ñ, the N with the tilde character. Essentially, in Spanish, this is one letter. Also in a dictionary, you'll find this as one letter, so it's called ñ. And then I have my German umlaut ä, I have the umlaut o, the ö, and I have the umlaut u, and this particular, we call it sharp S, the specific, actually it is historically a ligature from the intersyllabic long S in old scripts 200 years ago, and the end syllabic S. So that is why it looks like that. It is still in use in Germany and Austria, not in Switzerland any longer. But yeah, for writing German text, you need these characters, and it's very simple because you have it there. Then you have also accents for French. You have the trema. You have something like copyright characters and so on. And one thing which I find particularly helpful, even if this is nothing which is technically linked to this device, because it's just plain text. You write only plain ASCII text, nothing more. You can use, of course, the hash sign. And if you are familiar with the Markdown language, you can use this to increase your productivity by writing headlines and formatting the text very simply. You could even write LaTeX code and now saying, okay, I want to write the formula and begin a line, and now let's make an asterisk because this is how it looks like, and then okay, and now let's write whatever. Yeah. So anyone who knows and has seen maybe my video about the scientific formatting of the Remarkable Paper Pro will know what this means, but this is not the main intention. The main intention is just to write text. So that's it. And what you see here is also the delay. Can you see that? And this has been criticized by many because this screen is not very fast refreshing. So you have definitely here a significant delay. And you see here it takes even a while until you see something at all. Yeah. And that could be annoying. That could really be annoying. But then on the other hand, the question is this a limitation if you are in the flow and you are composing a text straightforward? You write in one go. Yeah, you don't really look back. You should even not bother about the delays of the text appearing on the screen, simply because you are expected, and this is really the philosophy of this device, to focus, just look on the screen or look on the keyboard as I do, because unfortunately my 10-finger writing is non-existent, so I will never reach a decent writing speed. But the point is, I am so much faster with this device, so significantly faster than on any other device. Now you may say, install EA Writer on your MacBook Pro, on an Android device, take a decent mechanical keyboard, use the Remarkable Paper Pro, and I will do a comparison because I have the Remarkable Paper Pro. I have the Remarkable 2 with the keyboard. I don't have the keyboard for the Paper Pro because I'm not buying the keyboard folio any longer because I have these devices. It just invites to write. Just let your thoughts flow. Just think about your story, think about your ideas, and draft. And then edit later. And this definitely also works with my non-existent 10-finger typing technique. So even if, I'm not that fast, so I don't write that fast. I have to think about an idea, and I have no problem to wait a few seconds and then maybe I need to, to remember something and cannot continue. Okay? But maybe that's different for authors drafting novels where their thoughts are flowing in one go, etc. Something like this. You get the point. The thing is, I am writing scientific texts or at least technical texts, not really fiction. And if you are doing that, this is always slower because I have some material aside me. Now, what you essentially creating with this one is an interesting anachronistic combination of tools which remind me of the good old times when we had the big clunky typewriters, yeah, where you had really to tuck, 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 but in a modern technical setup with cloud connection, because that is essentially already synchronized. Let's have a look, because here there's a status page, draft synced to Postbox. Yeah, it is already there. And by the way, you see here the little Google Drive logo. So I have linked the Postbox to Google Drive permanently. So actually this document is also saved for me on my Google Drive as a Google Docs file, as a Google Doc file, which means I have a double security here. As long as I'm on Wi-Fi, it's always immediately in the cloud. I mean, that is something my old typewriter could not deliver. And then we have, for example, as a companion device, the Remarkable Paper Pro, where you do handwritten notes and so on. In a way, you are replicating an old-fashioned analog setup. So you are writing on a typewriter, not on a computer. You don't have all the web browsers in front of you. You don't have all the notifications popping up all the time. And you have essentially a handwritten note device, but everything in a modern, fancy way, and everything synced to the cloud, and therefore a lot more secure, because you can add workflows, you can then back it up, you can multiply it, you can archive it, etc. So it's a paperless, but close to analog workflow. And this is essentially something we could now go into details about the psychology behind, but handwriting has a different quality than typing, and for note-taking, because you remember it in a different way. But then, of course, typing is necessary if you want to create a large amount of text. And then this one is really the perfect companion for me. So I got some questions, I think in the comments, but also from people which attend my consulting sessions, why I'm not using the keyboard folio of the devices that I own. Like for the Onyx books, there are keyboard attachments, keyboard folios, keyboard covers, if you will. For the iPad, there is. For the Remarkable 2, I even have got one. And for the Paper Pro, I didn't buy it anymore because I have those. And yes, one more comment. If you think now, oh, I mean, are you really carrying this around all day long like a suitcase? Yeah. No, I'm not. Definitely, I'm not. This device is not intended to be carried around. This device is only for being on a desk where you sit down and start your writing intentionally. It's not for any traveling, etc. Of course you can put it in a suitcase. It's not that heavy. It's 1.5 kilos maybe. But I mean, every modern laptop is much, much smaller. But the mechanical keyboard is complete game changer when you write. And even if it's not the most fancy mechanical keyboard, because some of you may be into mechanical keyboard customization and building your own and having your own motherboard and having your own firmware and customizing everything and lubing the switches and having custom switches maybe for different purposes, different switches and so on. No, this is not the case. But it's a decent, very high quality mechanical keyboard, and this is what it is intended for. Now you have seen this actually marvelous and really well built device. It is a fantastic tool for writing long form text, and I will also demonstrate in another video the smaller companion, which is called the Freewrite Traveler. The main question is this really a device you should purchase? And I'm honest, I cannot give you any recommendation, simply because It's tough. It is very, very expensive for what it is. So the simple model which I have, the Freewrite Smart Typewriter, is about 800 US dollars or euros, and depending on where you live, you also have shipping and import duties on top of it. It's a hard decision and it's hard to recommend. I was lucky to find it on a local platform for refurbished or old products that some people want to sell and others are wanting to buy. It's not eBay, it's local, it's an Austrian site. But I got it for a little bit more than half the original price, hardly used. And I think it was 500 euros for the smart typewriter, and for the traveler 350. At that price point, it is something that I would really consider, and I have purchased it for myself. If it's for you, honestly, it's really hard to recommend. But if you have some money to burn, it's a fantastic device, and it fits perfectly into this distraction-free philosophy and complements the workflow of the handwritten note-taking devices with a typewriter where you can focus and write all day long your novel, blog, or whatever you are going to produce. Please like and subscribe and help my channel to grow, and I see you in the next one.